are going to begin. I want you to spread your toes as much as possible on the floor. I'd love for you to try to get space in between each toe. And I want you to think about pressing down through that big toe, pulling that big toe back towards the heels. You'll feel that activate your arches. As you do that, think about shifting back. So we don't want to be falling forward. We're going to shift back onto our heels. And then we're going to bring our arms up overhead, reach for the ceiling, lengthen up. I want you to think about pulling pubic bone up towards rib cage, not like this, but just think about activating those muscles there within your core. Hold it here and breathe. Soften those knees and bring those hands down. From here, we're going to press forward into the floor, like I told you just not to do a second ago. This is going to help if you deal with hammer toes. This is a great exercise to work on lengthening and then press back through those heels, push forward, and then press back, and you can raise your toes up and forward. Raise those toes up and press forward and raise those toes up. From here, give me a tap down with our foot, keeping that foot straight. So sometimes I see people use their hip flexor to help with this. Try not to do that. I want you to lift through that ankle, tapping it, and then switch sides. And then from here, we're going to press our forefoot into the floor, and we're going to go heel raises. And while we're doing this, I want you to pay attention to what your foot is doing. So is it splaying out? Don't let it do that. Really try to keep it so that it goes straight up and down. Sometimes I'll see people like pop out at the end. Pay attention to that. Really work on keeping it going straight, forward and back. From here, hold it up and give me a little circle of the ankle. And then relax it down. Other side, lifting up through that heel, allowing that ankle to track forward and back. No popping out, no sliding in, none of that. And then we're going to hold this one up and we're going to circle that ankle. So it's really important to work our feet throughout the day. I love to be barefoot. Yoga, obviously, you're barefoot, but even in a lot of my strengthening classes, we go barefoot so we can feel the floor because it helps to activate the muscles within our legs and our pelvic floor. From here, come back to neutral. Press that big toe down into the floor. Think about pulling the big toe back towards the heel, creating that arch. From here, breathe up and in. Breathe out, drop it forward, swan diving it forward. Relax here, shake your head yes to make sure that that neck is relaxed. Listen to what I say, don't worry about trying to watch me or anything. From here, you're going to soften your knees and you're going to lift one heel up and then the other heel up. Two more like this. From here, lift up halfway so your tabletop position. Lengthen through that spine. Pretend someone's pulling a string from the crown of your head. Lengthening, you should feel your core activate when you do this. Drop it all the way down and then roll it nice and gently up. From here, we're going to go into gate openers. Holding your hips still, you're going to shift your weight to one side. I don't want you sinking or doing anything wacky with that hip. You're going to lift up your knee. You're going to bring it out to the side and down. Switch sides. Nice and slow. A lot of times when we do this faster, people will say that they feel popping in their hips. Really try to slow it down, keeping the hips stable. Usually when you go slow and keep the hips stable, that will keep them from popping. It's when people are kind of wiggling around that they may notice that their hips pop more. If you still have some popping, it's okay. Probably tension, tightness in those hip flexors. And last one. Perfect. From here, breathe up and in. Breathe it out. Drop forward. Bend those knees. Flatten that back out. Pretend someone is pulling a string, reaching that crown of the head towards the wall. Lengthen through that spine. Feel that core working. Drop it down again. Walk those hands out for me into a full plank. Lengthen here. Bring one leg up, pull it in. And from here, we're just going to kind of drop our hip down and lift that hip up. Drop and lift. Drop. Keep going. 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, you're going to bring your hands to the inside of that foot. Pull that knee in towards your shoulder. Drop that knee down. Hold it here and give me a nice deep breath. From here, lift back up. Bring the foot back to the other foot. Push back into a down dog. And from here, one heel is going to lift up and then the other heel. Working on keeping those feet mobile and moving, stretching out the Achilles and the calves. Can't really stretch out the Achilles, but we're working on lengthening it, keeping it from tightening up. And then from here, push back down dog again, holding that core nice and tight. Drop it down into a plank. Bring that other leg forward. From here, we're going to lift our hips up and down. You might feel a nice little stretch in that hamstring. I always want to recommend, if you feel really tight, you can go into a position and try to massage that area, trying to create some release in any of your tension spots. Give me 2 more. Last one. From here, drop that knee down. Bring those hands to the inside of the foot. Knee stays close to that shoulder and just kind of drop here. Relaxing into it and breathe for me. Lengthen through that spine. I see a lot of people end up going like this. I really want you to think about lengthening. Continue to breathe. From here, push back. Foot goes back to the other foot. Hold it here. Lengthen through that spine again for me. We're going to go into a side plank. Hold it here. If you need to drop down to your knee, that's fine. Don't overdo it. And then we're going to bring that leg forward and drop it down here into a 90-90. So if you've watched me enough, you're going to know that this is a great position to be in throughout the day. If you can get down on the floor, your hips are going to be much happier. So what we're going to do here is we're going to drop this hip down. So you're trying to get both sits bones down, and then you're going to lift that hip back up. Bring both sits bones down and lift back up. Keep going. Working on those hips. Just 90-90 from here. Sits bones go down, bring arms up, lengthen, hold it here. Keeping that sits bone down. Try to shift your weight to this hip, this one that's struggling to go down. Shift that weight just a little bit. Might feel some inner thigh stretch. From here, now we're going to lift that hip up. We're facing now towards our shin, and we're going to drop forward at an angle. Hold it here. Probably feeling it in that front glute now. Hold it. Lengthen through that spine. Try not to be rounded here. Lengthen up. Now from here, we're going to bring this leg back. So what we're going to do, this is pigeon. I want you to place your hands on the mat, lift up a little bit onto that hip, and then start walking that foot back. That should help you get more safely into this position, and just go as far as is comfortable. Hold it here. Then you can drop down onto your elbow. Same thing. Hold it here and continue to breathe for me. And then back up. Sweep it around. We're going to bring our hand down. We're going to lift up into a side plank. So you can come back to regular plank if you need to, and then lift up. Remember, knee can drop down. If you're not feeling comfortable with lifting all the way up, hold it here. Make sure that you're not sinking into this shoulder. Lengthen here, hold it. From here, drop it down, and we're going other side 90-90. Hip is going to drop. Hip goes down and then lifts up and down and up. Trying to get sits bones down. Notice if there's a difference from one side as the other. So when you did this on the other side, did it feel any different? You feel tighter on this side? From here, we're going to drop that sits bone down. So that back one, we're going to hold it here. We're going to bring those arms up. We're going to lengthen. Hold it. Try to shift weight back towards that back hip. If you feel knee tension or anything, you might need to bring it out or pull it in. Listen to your body. Only go as far as what feels comfortable. Now lift that hip up. Now we're facing towards that front shin, and we're dropping it over at an angle, feeling it in our front glute, having to kind of hold us up. Remember, lengthen through that chest, no rounding here. Got little knots on my hand switches, creating a little pain. From here, drop those hands down. You can lift up and work on walking the foot back. I hit my water bottle. Hold it here. You're in pigeon. Do what feels comfortable. Don't worry about trying to get it perfect. Just listen to your body, get into a position. You can always move. Don't be afraid to move through the position. Don't always feel like you have to lock it in. This is about what feels right for you. From here, you can drop down onto your elbows and hold it and breathe. And then relax it down. From here, we're going to go on to hands and knees. We're going to curl our toes under, and we're just going to gently rock it back and come forward. Rock it back. So we're working on stretching those feet at this point. If you notice you feel tight, just go easy here. The other thing I want you to focus on is where, when you push back, how do your feet move? You should feel that stretch in that big toe here. I don't want you falling out to the side to protect that toe. From here, you can lift up. Sit up nice and tall. Toes are still tucked under. If this hurts, we need to work on more toe mobility. So working on getting those toes to be able to feel comfortable in this position. So if it's too difficult, you can drop it down, but just know you need to work on strengthening the toes to get into this position. Zip up from pubic bone to rib cage, activating that pelvic floor all the way up. Reach up, hold it here. Bring those hands down, push back into down dog again. Separate those feet. From here, now we're going to go knee drop down, and you're going to give me a little twist within that hip, knee drop down. Just a little one. Knee drop. Knee drop. Two more. Knee. And then from here, drive it back down. Curl those toes under, sit back, hold it here. From here, I'm laying down and I'm going to start to just gently shift my hips. Shift my hips towards the one heel, shift my hips towards the other heel. Just back and forth, nice and gentle here. And then from here, roll it up. Bring one hand out in front of the other hand, and we're going to push back at an angle, driving down. You might feel a nice stretch deep and low, or even up through your arm. Breathe into this rib cage, the one that's more exposed. Breathe into that rib cage. You hear me talk a lot about 360 breathing. This is going to help these ribs expand, moving through positions like this. Woo. From here, come up. I hear backs popping, and then switch other side. Hips drop back at the other angle, and then breathe for me. And then come back up. From here, we're going to bring one foot forward. So you're going to be sitting back on this. Our foot is here. What I want you to do is we're going to kind of dive into this foot. Tibia is going to rotate a little bit. So you're here. Tibia rotates in, creates almost what you know of as overpronation of this foot. Pronation. That is okay through this cycle here. Press. Last one like this. And press. Switch sides. So we're here. We're going to press it forward and back up. Press, working on mobility of the ankle. A lot of times, I know I mentioned hammer toes at the beginning. People with hammer toes also tend to have a lot of ankle tension. So this is great for that as well. Perfect. From here, have a seat all the way down. Bring your feet out to the side into butterfly. What some people notice is that their knees might be up high. You might feel really tight here. Take your hand, place it under one sits bone. Try to think about expanding between both sits bones. You're trying to pull apart and then sit it back and notice if that one side falls down a little bit more. Same thing with the other side. Pull it apart and expand here. Once you are here, then you can reach forward a little bit. Make sure, again, no rounding, lengthen. Chest is always reaching for the toes, keeping it nice and straight. You can bring your arms up, hold it here. And then come back up. From here, I'm going to work on separating my big toe from my second toe. So I'm just going to pull them apart from one another. And then I'm going to create an X. So my little toes go towards each other. My big toes go away from each other in an X style. And then switch. Big toes go towards each other. Second toes, create an X. Have to get all fingers involved with this. And then relax, bring those knees together. I'm going to turn side, and we're going to gently roll back. Lay all the way back. Bring one knee up into the chest. Bring that knee out to the side, keeping that other knee going up straight. A lot of times we try to counter this movement. Use your core to help stabilize you here. And then back down. Switch sides. Knee in. And then out to the side. From here, bring both knees up. Give me a little rock of the pelvis. So what you should feel when you're doing this is you should feel how your tailbone tucks under. Low back should lift up off the mat just a little bit. If you're struggling with this means you have probably an anterior pelvic tilt. So you tend to fall into like an arched or sway back. Something to pay attention to. We want to work on strengthening those lower abs so that we can do that position. From here, we're going to bring our knees gently out to the side. And we're going to lift up. You're going to grab your toes you can do with your pinky. And we're going to drop down into happy baby pose. A widening of that pelvis. If you happen to know you have a tight pelvic floor, this is a great position to go into to work on releasing that tension. If you have a loose pelvic floor, we need to work on tightening everything. So we're going to do breathing, pulling back in. Doesn't mean you have to not do this. From here, bring one ankle onto the knee, pull that knee into the chest. You can give me a little rock side to side. Feel how that stretches all of those muscles within the hip. And then relax, switch legs. And then a little side to side. Woo. Get to hear the birds squawking. And then from here, bring those legs down. I want you to straighten those legs out. So we're going to do some deep hip work before we finish this off. Yeah, we got about 3 minutes. So deep hip work here. We're going to keep our toes up towards the ceiling. So here's the thing. You need to relax and you need to listen to me because we need to make sure we're working the movements, the legs correctly and not cheating. So my hands are on my hips, my pelvis is in neutral. I'm going to gently lift my right leg up without shifting into the opposite hip. So we're going to just try to lift that leg up, hold it here. You should not have moved your pelvis in any way. You shouldn't have tilted it, and you shouldn't have shifted into like the heel of the opposite leg. Everything is gentle, and then relax it down. Switch sides. You'll notice if you were pressing into that opposite hip, when you go, you'll end up shifting completely. Working deep within the lower abs to help create this, and then internal hips. I'm sorry, yeah, not internal, but the deep hip rotators. And relax from here. Turn those toes out now. Same thing, making sure your pelvis is neutral. We're going to lift that right leg up gently. Think about doing it from the lower abs. Ooh, try not to. Ooh, I was going to say, try not to get that quadricep firing too much. And relax down, other side. I like to breathe out as I do this. You'll notice sometimes it's hard to recruit the right muscles to get this to occur. Don't lift it too high. Then you take, it ends up kind of moving into our bigger muscles. So just barely lift it up and then relax. And then last one, turning those toes in. Same thing here. Hold that core nice and strong. Lift up. Breathe. Feel this deep in this hip on the outside. And relax. And then the other side. Getting a lot of core work here. And we're not doing any crunches. We're just laying here flat, helping to keep our hips and our pelvis stable. We end up having to recruit our abs and relax. From here, bring those knees up. We're going to lift up. Pelvis is lifting up. Tuck that tailbone under just a little bit. Lift up. Squeeze those glutes. Hold it here. Fingertips up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift one hip up just a little bit by pressing heel down into the mat. And then shift to other side, other pelvis, hips lifts up and down. Keep going up and down, up. 4. Just little movements. 3, 2, and 1. Relax, drop those hips down. Bring those knees into the chest. Rock it side to side. From here, for those of you on Facebook, I'll be ending it. If you are in the membership, stay with me. We're going to continue breathing for just a few minutes, and then we'll have time for some conversation.